And if he doesn't use me, he'll use somebody else. But it's better to have a fisherman share these things with you than to be hunted down when you're hiding and quivering and said, I was wrong about sex and marriage and remarriage. I was wrong about Sunday worship. I was wrong about Easter and Christmas. I was wrong about Jehovah. I was wrong about the Trinity. It's better now to be spoon-fed by the loving fishermen who are making disciples of all nations than to wait for the day. And that's why this is a very tense time. Because right now there are both fishermen and hunters in the earth working Yahweh's. This is a very dangerous time. Because Yahweh is operating in the earth right now, and there are fishermen going out into the earth, and there are hunters going out into the earth, and then when we don't have the Ruach of Yahweh, we don't have the discernment of Yahweh, we blame the fishermen, and then we think the hunters can't come from Yahweh. And when a poor guy with a beautiful heart who loves the Jewish people and loves the things of Zion, like Pastor John Hagee, comes out just because he has a big stomach like me, they crucify him and they turn him upside down, and they liken him unto Jeremiah Wright, or to some religious fanatic, like some religious zealot, like those poor women in Texas who had their innocent babies ripped out of their arms because the state wanted to paint a guilt by association picture. Listen, black folks and Spanish folks, you should be very sensitive to what's going on in Texas, because there was a time, and there still are times, when an entire race and an entire ethnicity is persecuted and painted with one big broad brush because you don't look like them and you don't behave like them and because you don't act like them. I can care less about Warren Jeffs. I don't know what he teaches. I don't want to know what he teaches. I would probably disagree with 90% of what Warren Jeffs teaches. That's not the point. The point is the Constitution and the Bill of Rights was violated in his case and in Israel Hawkins' case. The government shall make no law respecting religion. The Fourth Amendment, the government shall not partake of any unjust search and seizure. You need a bench warrant from a judge to enter somebody's home. And the only way you could enter someone's private property, and that was private property, is with a probable cause. And the only way you can determine probable cause, meaning it might be true even though we don't have the evidence, is for a judge to order a probable cause bench warrant. They had none of the above, and they topped it all off with a dose of government brutality, where tanks and AR-15s were pulled out against innocent men, women, and children. And if there were some criminals there who were taking child brides and marrying them at 10 years old, which Torah and I is 1,000,000% opposed to, then bring those people to justice, but don't whitewash an entire community with a big broad brush. Amen. Can I hear a good amen? Amen. Is anyone enjoying? Amen. Let's go quickly. Yirmiyahu 17:1. This is all from today's Haftarah Parsha. I may skip around a little bit for the sake of time. The sin of Yehuda is written with a pen of iron, and with a point of a diamond it is carved upon the table, the shulchan of their lave, and the horns of the altar. Their children remember their altars, and their groves by the green eitzim on the high hills. My mountain in the field I give your substance. All your treasures will be plundered, your high places for sin throughout all your borders. And you even yourself will discontinue from your heritage that I gave you. Even Jewish people have discontinued the heritage of the fathers. And I will cause you to serve your enemies in the land that you do not know. For if you have lit a fire in my anger, which shall burn le'olam vo'ed. And here is what Yahweh is saying in the last days. This says Yahweh, cursed is the man who trusts in man apart from the confirming word of Yahweh and the Ruach HaKodesh. Listen, the Ruach HaKodesh will never contradict the word of Yahweh. You cannot continue to call something sinful when Yahweh calls it kosher. You cannot continue to call something clean when Yahweh says it's not clean. Why? Because we trust in men. Right? We don't bother checking things out ourselves. And look what Yahweh says in verse 5. This says Yahweh. So is this Rav Moshe talking? This says Yahweh. Yirmiyahu 17:5. Jeremiah 17:5. Cursed is the man, meaning generic man, man or woman, who trusts more in man, who makes human flesh the arm of his counsel, and whose lave his heart departs from the ways of Yahweh. For he will be like the shrub in the desert, who will not see when good comes, but shall inhabit a parched place in the wilderness, especially in the great tribulation, a salt land not inhabited. Contrariwise, verse 7, blessed is the man who trusts in Yahweh, whose trust is in Yahweh. You see the two opposites? The cursing and the cursed man or woman, and the blessed man or woman. The cursed man or woman does not trust in the arm of flesh. His heart is continually set on seeking the revealed will of Yahweh in His Word. But on the other hand, verse 7, blessed is the man who trusts in Yahweh and whose trust is only in Yahweh. Let's read that again. He trusts in Yahweh, and then you know why he trusts in Yahweh, Darrell? Look at the end of verse 7. Because his trust is only in Yahweh. Wherever trust in Yahweh may lead you. And it can be a scary place. Not scary from a spiritual perspective, but from a natural perspective. My fathers didn't teach me this. My background, my religion, didn't teach me this. No one shared these things with me. Now he says, all these things that you've learned, that you cannot confirm in my word, are vanity, lies, and there is how much profit in them? Jeremiah 16, 17, 18, and 19. How much profit? Question is, how much do you love Yahweh? The truth of the matter is, most of us love the comfort zone that we're in. We don't like to be shaken. I remember when we first got married, Rivka and I had a tough time. I didn't realize that my wife didn't like surprises. So one day I went home and I bought her a birthday cake, which was a cheesecake. Not only she didn't like surprises, we were newlyweds. At that time I didn't know that she didn't like cake because she was battling her weight. So I had a double home run. I had a daily double. I surprised her when she can't handle surprises. Don't ever try to surprise her. Just bring it to her slowly. Okay, I think you know my wife. Just bring it to her slowly, and she'll latch on. You know, give it to her in controlled portions. Anything you want to share with her. But on top of the fact that I surprised her, and she doesn't appreciate surprises, is the fact that I gave her a cheesecake, and she was on a what? Diet. On a diet. You see where I'm going with this? So, look, don't presuppose anything. Don't think, okay, I know about this area, I know about that area, I'm convinced about that area, I know about Shabbat, I know about Moedim, but all this other stuff I don't know about. Good. Good. And there's two messages in the earth right now. Are you with me or am I boring you? There's two messages in the earth. The message of the fisherman who will gently disciple you in the things of Torah and in the things of Yeshua. And then the hunters are coming when they'll find us in the Great Tribulation. And the ends of the earth are coming to Yahweh in the Great Tribulation. Are we part of the ends of the earth? Talk to me. Are you and I part of the multitudes of the end of the earth? And Yahweh is going to show us all the errors of our ways, but under the squeezing of the Great Tribulation. And no. It's better to trust in Yahweh. Look at verse 7. Blessed is the man who trusts in Yahweh and what? Not just whose trust is in Yahweh, but whose trust, his very trust, is Yahweh. Can I hear a good amen? So our attitude should be, Yahweh, I give you license. I give you freedom to turn my religious world upside down when it comes to sex, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to intimacy. All the things you're dealing with, Rabbi Moshe, now, I give you license. I give you freedom. If it's you, if it's in the Torah, shake me, wake me, do whatever you have. I want I want my trust to be Yahweh and only in Yahweh. So with that attitude, Yahweh will take you some serious places. Yahweh is going to take you some serious, serious places. Can I hear a good amen? But guess what? That's what Yahweh is dealing with me now. So that the people who are not spirit-filled are going to say, oh, he must be having problems at home. Now, let me ask you a question. Were you saying that when Yahweh was showing me the whole wheat unleavened bread? Were you saying that? No. Were you saying that when Yahweh was showing me the two houses of Israel? No. Were you saying that when Yahweh was showing me that his name is not God, but Yahweh? Were you saying that? So relax. Surely Yahweh does nothing in the earth except he reveals his will to his secrets. His secrets to his servants, the prophets. It's like anything else that Janet says, or anything else that Daryl says, or anything else that Mordecai says up here when he has the microphone. All things have to be checked out by the word of Yahweh.
Amen. Amen.
If it can be checked out and kosher-fied and seasoned with salt in the word of Yahweh, it's Yahweh. Whether society says it's legal or illegal, who cares? Society says it's illegal to worship on Shabbat. Guess what, Bubba? Yo tiene adoración on Shabbat. No alabanza, pero Yahweh banza. Because I don't worship Allah. Only the Muslims are involved with alabanza. The Israelites are involved with Yahweh banza. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Do you have anybody here who likes the Yahweh banza? Tadara ba Yahweh. Tadara ba Yahweh. Yahweh banza. Tadara ba Yahweh. Next time a Spanish-speaking brother tells you that they want to do the alabanza, say, oh, piértate. Yahweh banza.
Yahweh banza. Hallelujah.
Baruch Hashem Yahweh. All right, man. Check this out. Verse 7. Blessed is the man that trusts in Yahweh, whose trust is only in Yahweh. And now you'll see a little Psalm 1 right here, verse 8. Yirmiyahu 17:8. For the one whose trust in all his doctrine comes only from Yahweh's word, verse 8, shall be as an oak planted by the Mayim that spreads out its roots by the river, and shall not see when the heat comes, but his leaf, the leaf of the righteous planted by the living water, his leaf shall be green. It shall not be anxious in the year of drought, neither shall it cease from yielding fruit in the kingdom of Yahweh. So Yahweh says, you don't have to fear truth. That's why we are special in the Miami Beach Israel Revival. We are not afraid of truth. We're not afraid when truth confronts us. Neither are we afraid to confront it. If it's from the Father, if it's from the heavens, we want it. Yaakov 1:17, every good and perfect gift comes from the Father of lights, in whom there is no variableness or shadow of turning. Somebody give him praise. We want everything Yahweh has. Because we are like a tree planted by the living water, and our leaf will not wither, and whatever we do will prosper. We see Psalm 1 right there in Jeremiah 17:8. We see it right there. Notice, and when the heat comes, in the year of economic downturn and recession, I heard a good joke. What's the difference between recession and depression? Right, you're right. What's the difference between recession and depression? Recession is when my neighbor is out of work. Depression is when I'm out of work. It's the same stupid thing. Recession is when my neighbor is out of work. The depression is when I'm out of work. But guess what? For the child of Yahweh, there is no recession. There is no depression. There's no economic downturn, because Yahweh said that we are the head and not the tail. We are from above, the children from above, and not the children from beneath, because those who are the children of beneath are being led by the spirit of disobedience, the spirit of Torah breaking. Somebody. We are from above and not beneath. And so look, we think, well, now we know the two houses, we know the whole wheat unleavened bread, we know that Islam is the end time beast, we've arrived. We've arrived, everything's kosher, we've arrived. Now we can just have an eternal Passover. I can start getting dressed up for the marriage of the Lamb. Honey, can I borrow your makeup? What are you doing? Well, It's going to take me about 40 years to get ready. How many husbands know what I'm talking about? If your wife's here, don't answer. Take 40 years to get ready for the marriage supper of the Lamb. No. No. Now is the time when Yahweh wants to teach you what? His full counsel. What does Jeremiah 33:3 say? Call unto me and I will answer you and show you great and mighty things that you know not. Call unto me and I will answer you and show. Don't get your doctrine from Rabbi Moshe. Get your doctrine from Yahweh. Check everything out by the word of Yahweh. But also, not only check me out, check out what you believe that's not in the word of Yahweh, that came from the Torah of the vanity of your fathers and the world and this and the devil. Check out those things you believe too. Look at verse 9. Why do you need to check out everything? Based on the word of Yahweh and on your trust in Yahweh. Look at verse 9. Because the human heart, notice, is less deceitful than Bill Clinton. The human heart is not as bad as Saddam Hussein. Is that what it says? What does it say? The human heart, or the lay, is so deceitful above all things and so desperately wicked that there's not a human being, now listen, don't miss this, there's not a human being born that knows how wicked their own heart is. In other words, I'm capable of murder. I'm capable of anything anybody else is, and so are you, because Rav Shaul said we are those who put no confidence in the flesh because our confidence and our trust is in Yahweh. I don't trust my flesh. Do you really trust? You know you don't trust your flesh. But there is so much desire to do evil in the heart, and it is so desperately crying out to perform evil that you don't know how wicked it is, but you also don't know the things that have come into your heart that have been vanity, only lies, and things that there is no profit, no spiritual profit, but Yahweh is changing that. Why? Because there are fishers and there are what? Hunters in the earth. You say, well, that doesn't apply to me. We're in the Great Tribulation, I won't be hunted. Really? Well, if you won't be hunted in the Great Tribulation, why will we be hiding in caves? If you're not going to be hunted in the Great Tribulation, why will you be hiding in caves? Why in Revelation 6 will we be praying, caves, mountains, fall on us and hide us from the wrath of him who sits upon the throne and from the Lamb? Oh, Yahweh will have our attention, and Yahweh will have the attention of the heathen as well. He's going to have all our attention. The heart, there's so much stuff in our hearts. Against our brothers, against our sisters, unforgiveness, anger, jealousy. You know why some people don't support what you're doing in Yahweh? Because they're jealous. You think people want you to succeed serving Yahweh? Who told you that? Who told you that? You don't know the first thing about ministry. If you're going to succeed in Yahweh, because it's going to be all him and none of you. He's going to make you the head and not the tail. He's going to make you from above and not beneath. I have hundreds around the world that are pulling for my demise. And someday I won't be here. How many believe that there will be a day when Rabbi Moshe is not alive? And then all my detractors are going to say, you see, Yahweh took him. Of course, they never mentioned that I've been around for 90 years. They haven't mentioned that I've led hundreds of people to Yeshua and started literally hundreds of congregations around the world. They don't tell you that part. They just figure, well, if he's not here, Yahweh took him. He must have done something wrong. Men, their hearts are like full of wickedness. Their hearts are deceitful and desperately what? Desperately wicked. We can't even know it. In other words, brothers, I'm challenging you in this new area that Yahweh is showing us of human sexuality because I know that our hearts are wicked. We have been poisoned by the world, and by religion, and by Messianic Judaism. Everybody has been depositing a little poison. And so when your funky flesh looks for a release, it looks for it outside the bounds of Yahweh-approved marriage. Our hearts are, when Yahweh is revealing a truth, is there always going to be opposition? Just because there's opposition doesn't mean it's from Yahweh. It's still, just because someone opposes us doesn't mean it's from Yahweh. If somebody opposes us and it's in the word of Yahweh, it's from Yahweh. Opposition doesn't mean Yahweh is with you. It could be you're an idiot and you're making a fool out of yourself and you're doing stuff you shouldn't be doing. But if you have opposition because you are declaring the full counsel of Yahweh or something that was in the word of Yahweh, then Yahweh is with you. Can I hear a good amen? Amen. And if Yahweh is with you, who can be what? Who can be against you? So the human slave is deceitful above all things, desperately wicked. Who can know it? See, and these things that Yahweh is showing us, we have to determine how that applies to our life. When we receive the whole wheat and unleavened bread, did we not have to say, okay, how does that affect my life? How is that going to change my life? When Yahweh was showing me the two houses, and we accepted the two houses, we have to say, okay, now that I understand the two houses, how does that affect my life? How does that affect the way things are going to be done? How does that affect the way I will behave? You follow what I'm saying? So everything that Yahweh shows you, you have to say, now that I'm seeing this, or now that Yahweh is showing me certain things, how does that affect my life, my everyday life? In some cases it may affect a lot, in some cases it may not affect at all. Look at verse 10. I, Yahweh, search the heart, the lave. I try the mind. Yahweh tests our mind while he searches our heart. You getting this? Through the message of the hunters and the fishermen, it is designed, the message of the fishermen and the hunters is designed to search the heart and test the mind to see if your mind is his mind and if your heart has his thoughts. Because Isaiah 55 says what? The same way my thoughts are higher than your thoughts and my ways are higher than your ways, even as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways. Can I hear a good amen? Amen. His ways and his thoughts are so much higher that when Yahweh renews our hearts and takes out the wickedness of our heart, he is constantly what? Testing the mind to see if it's being renewed. Yahweh is constantly testing our mind to see what? If it's being renewed. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. I said Baruch Hashem Yahweh. As the partridge sits on the egg, I try the mind, let me go back to verse 10. Even to give every man according to his derech, his ways, the fruit of his doings. Meaning, did you get your education, your mind, your heart programmed by the world and by religion in any area? Or did you allow me to program your heart and your mind? Did you allow me to search your heart and remove those things from your heart and from your mind that are your own way and not my way? Can I hear a good amen? Is anyone enjoying? That side of the room is. That's toe. Now I'm going to work on this side. Look at verse 11. As the partridge sits on eggs, but doesn't hatch them, so is he that gets rich, but not by doing right. It shall leave him in the midst of his days, and in the end he's a fool. In other words, some of us may be sitting on unhatched eggs right now, and we're getting rich in the understandings of the world and understandings of religious systems of this world. But the eggs may or may not hatch, but guess what? In the end, whatever you're sitting on or trusting in may leave you in the midst of your days, but in the end, you're going to look like a fool if every area of your life doesn't line up with Yahweh. In the end, you and I are going to look like fools in the end. We have to turn over all of our doctrines, all of our ways, all of our thinking to Yahweh Eloheinu, because otherwise we're going to be sitting on a bunch of eggs that may never hatch. But even if they do hatch, He's going to remove those things we sit on and those things we trust in. Can I hear a good amen?
Amen.
And in the end, we're going to look foolish. Yahweh doesn't want you to look foolish. He wants you to be what? Planted like a tree by living water, so that your leaf can grow and whatever you do can prosper. Can I hear a good amen?
Amen.
That's what Yahweh wants for you, that whatever you do in life will prosper, because in all areas of your life, your heart, your mind, your thoughts, your understanding are plugged into Him and plugged into His ways. Does any of this make sense? Perfect sense, huh? Look at this. Verse 12. How many know that sometimes we can sit on eggs because they're nice, warm, and comfortable, but the eggs are going to crack, and in the end, we're going to look like a fool? That's nice. I like Yahweh's metaphors. I like the way Yahweh does that. It's true. But if you're growing in Yeshua, Yahweh is in the business of cracking your egg. Also the heart, cracking your heart and exposing the stuff that has seeped in there and filtered in there that did not come from Torah. It came from someone's commentary on what they think